the United States faces a serious financial challenge. The national debt has been growing for years, and now it has reached unprecedented levels. This is not just a number on a screen. It represents a significant burden on the economy and future generations. The national debt is high, interest rates are rising, making it more expensive for the government to borrow money. This situation is exacerbated by the fact that the economy is also facing other pressures, such as inflation and global trade tensions. This means the cost of servicing the debt is increasing rapidly. Every year, a larger portion of the federal budget is being allocated to pay interest on the debt, leaving less money for other essential services and investments. By 2025, the U.S. is projected to spend more on interest than on its military. This is a startling statistic, considering the significant role the military plays in national security and global stability. This is a significant shift with major implications. It means that the government will have to make tough choices about where to allocate resources, potentially cutting back on important programs and services. It will impact the federal budget, affecting everything from social services to infrastructure projects. The ripple effects of these budgetary constraints will be felt across the nation. It will affect the nation's economic stability. Investors and businesses may become more cautious, leading to slower economic growth and fewer job opportunities. Policymakers need to address this issue urgently. They must find a balance between managing the debt and fostering economic growth. This will require bipartisan cooperation and innovative solutions. The future of the country depends on it. The decisions made today will shape the economic landscape for generations to come, determining the opportunities and challenges that future Americans will face. For the first time in modern history, interest payments are on track to exceed military spending. This marks a significant shift in the nation's financial priorities and highlights the growing concern over the national debt. Historically, military spending has always been a major part of the federal budget, reflecting the country's focus on defense and security. However, the rapid increase in interest payments is now challenging this long-standing trend. In 2024, interest payments are projected to reach $870 billion. This staggering amount is a clear indication of the financial strain the country is under. Analysts warn that if this trend continues, it could have serious implications for other areas of government spending, including essential services and infrastructure projects. This surpasses the $822 billion allocated for defense. The defense budget, which has traditionally been one of the largest expenditures, is now being overshadowed by the cost of servicing the national debt. This shift raises questions about the sustainability of current fiscal policies and the long-term economic health of the nation. This is a stark illustration of the growing debt burden. The increasing interest payments are a direct result of years of accumulating debt, and they represent a significant challenge for policymakers. The burden of this debt is not just a financial issue. It also has social and political implications, affecting everything from public services to national security. It is a sign that the country's finances are on an unsustainable path. Without significant changes to fiscal policy, the situation is likely to worsen. Experts are calling for urgent reforms to address the root causes of the debt crisis and to put the country back on a sustainable financial footing. The situation demands immediate attention. Policymakers must come together to develop a comprehensive strategy to manage the national debt and reduce interest payments. This will require difficult decisions and a commitment to long-term financial stability. Failure to act will have severe consequences. If the current trajectory continues, the country could face an economic crisis that would affect every aspect of life. It is imperative that action is taken now to prevent a financial disaster and to ensure a stable and prosperous future for all citizens. The surge in interest payments is driven by two main factors. First, interest rates are rising. The Federal Reserve has been raising rates to combat inflation. This makes it more expensive to borrow money, including for the government. Second, the national debt continues to grow. This is due to a combination of factors. These include government spending programs and tax cuts. As the debt grows, so too do the interest payments. Section 4. Powell's Dilemma. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell faces a difficult challenge. He needs to balance the fight against inflation with the need to manage the growing debt burden. Raising interest rates too quickly could harm the economy. However, keeping rates low risks fueling inflation further. This would erode the value of the dollar and hurt consumers. Powell's decisions will have far-reaching consequences. Finding the right balance is crucial. Section 5. A nation at risk. The rising cost of interest payments has dire implications. As interest rates climb, the burden on the national budget becomes heavier. This isn't just a financial issue, it's a matter that affects every citizen. The government finds itself allocating more funds to service debt, leaving less for other crucial areas. It squeezes federal spending on essential programs. This includes education, healthcare, and infrastructure. Schools may face budget cuts, hospitals might struggle with funding, and infrastructure projects could be delayed or canceled. The ripple effects are felt across the nation, impacting the quality of life for millions. It also limits the government's ability to respond to emergencies. Whether it's a natural disaster, a public health crisis, or a national security threat, the financial constraints hinder timely and effective responses. This can lead to prolonged recovery times and greater overall damage. Furthermore, it weakens the country's fiscal position. A weakened fiscal stance means less flexibility in policymaking and a higher risk of financial instability. Businesses and investors may lose confidence, leading to slower economic growth and fewer job opportunities. This makes it more vulnerable to economic shocks. In times of economic downturn, the lack of fiscal resilience can exacerbate the situation, making recoveries longer and more painful. Unemployment rates may rise, and small businesses could face closures. Ultimately, it threatens the nation's long-term prosperity and security. The economic strain can lead to social unrest and weaken national defense capabilities. The very fabric of society is at risk when financial stability is compromised. Addressing this crisis is not a choice, it is an imperative. Collective action from policymakers, businesses, and citizens is essential to navigate through these challenges. Only through unity and decisive action can we secure a stable and prosperous future for the nation.